Many of the tools and commands in Photoshop, ranging from the brush tool to the type tool to commands like fill and stroke, apply color. So it's important to know the various ways that you can choose the colors that you're going to be applying in Photoshop, including using the color picker, which is the main subject of this movie. Take a look at the bottom of the toolbox here, where you'll see two color boxes, the foreground color box and the background color box. You may have different colors in your boxes, but whatever color is currently filling the foreground color box is the one that many of Photoshop's tools will use. The background color comes into play less often, perhaps when you're making a gradient that includes the background color, but it's also a good place to store a second color that you may want quick access to as you're designing. And you can switch back and forth between the foreground and background colors by clicking this double-pointed arrow or by pressing the X key on your keyboard. The default foreground and background colors are black and white, and you can always restore black and white by clicking on this icon right here or by pressing the D key on your keyboard. One popular way to select a foreground color is to open the color picker. To do that, I'm going to click once on the foreground color box. In the color picker, I can choose a color by clicking anywhere on this large color field on the left. And the color that I choose appears in the top half of this square over on the right. I can change the colors available by moving the sliders on this central bar. And then I can pick a different color over here in the color field. There are three components to color in Photoshop, and they're represented by these three buttons here. Hue means the actual color. S refers to the saturation of a color, which means its purity or intensity. And B is for the brightness of a color, its lightness or darkness. Because the H button is selected here, colors are arranged by hue in this vertical slider bar. And over in the color field, I see variations on the color hue arranged by saturation from right to left and by brightness from top to bottom. If I want to view colors organized in another way, I can click the S button here. And that organizes the color in this slider by saturation, from highly saturated at the top to less saturated at the bottom. Or I could click the B button here to organize the colors in the slider by brightness, from light to dark. Down here are three buttons labeled R, G, and B. These represent the R, G, and B values of a color. These fields come in handy if a client asks you to design with a specific color, perhaps a corporate color. If he gives you the RGB values for a color, you can type them in here. So for example, I might come in and type 68 as the R value of a color, 148 as the green value, and 72 as the blue value. There's nothing magic about those particular numbers. I just wanted to show you that they select a particular color, in this case a green. If you happen to know the hexadecimal code value of a color, you can type it into this box down here. Hexadecimal code is a special numbering system that's used to describe web color. So let's say I know that I want a color that's CCFF00. I can type that in, and that automatically selects this color for me. Another thing that I can do in the color picker is to set it to display only web-safe colors, a subject that I covered in detail in another movie. If you have to design with web-safe colors, you can come down here where it says Only Web Colors and check that box. And then everything that you see here in the color picker and in the color slider is a web-safe color. And if I click on any of these colors, I've selected a web-safe color which appears here in the square. I'm going to uncheck Only Web Colors for just a moment, and I'm going to select another color. Notice that when I did that, this little cube appeared on the right side of the large square. The cube means that the color I've selected is not web-safe. Photoshop will automatically select the nearest web-safe color for me if I click on that cube. And the cube disappeared because now I do have a web-safe color selected. When I've got the color that I want, I click OK, and that closes the color picker and fills the foreground color box here with the selected color, which is ready for me to use in Photoshop. So I think you can see that the color picker is a useful way to choose color in Photoshop. It offers lots of features that give you flexibility and versatility when you're trying to choose a color for use in your own designs.